chemical properties. Properties of matter can be classified as physical or chemical. A physical property can be observed or measured without altering the identity of the material. So if I wanted to get the mass of an object, I could just put it on a scale and measure it. I wouldn't have to change it at all. Or if I wanted to find the density of something, I could put it in, if I wanted to find the density, I could put it on a scale and weigh it and then find the volume of the object. I'm not changing the object. So those are physical properties. While a chemical property describes the ability of a substance to undergo a change that alters its identity. You don't know its chemical property unless you react it with something else. So reactivity, does it react with blank? Flammability, if I put fire to it, will it catch on fire? Toxicity, if it is eaten, will it kill you? Those are all types of chemical properties. There's two types of physical properties, intensive and extensive. Intensive do not depend on the amount of matter present. Because of this, we can use it for identification. So intensive physical properties are very important to help us figure out what type of matter we have. Some examples, we have melting, boiling points, density, color, odor, and such. Extensive depends on the amount of matter present. So it's always changing. We cannot use extensive to identify something. This would be like our mass, the volume, the length, how much heat is given off. All of those are extensive. Some examples would be mass, volume, length, the temperature at which something is currently at. So on these sample problems, you're going to go through and figure out first, is it physical or chemical? Blue color. Knowing the color of something does help us identify it, and it is physical. So that would be an intensive physical property. Go ahead and try 1 through 8, but before doing so, solubility is the ability to dissolve. So if you're unaware of what solubility is, it's the ability to dissolve. Go ahead and pause the video and try 1 through 8 on your own. Restart when you have these 8 done. We said density, we can test it without changing it, and it does help us identify the substance. Flammability is a chemical property. Solubility, if it dissolves, it has not changed. If I put salt in water, I still have salt and I still have water. And the properties do not change. So that's a physical property, and some things dissolve in water while others don't. So that's a physical intensive. Reacting with acid to form hydrogen would be a chemical property. If something supports combustion or supports burning, that's also a chemical property. Sour taste. Tasting something doesn't change the substance. So that is a physical property, and it's physical intensive. And then melting point is a physical property. Melting does not change a substance. It's still the same substance. It's just in liquid form now. And melting points help us determine what a substance is. Before trying 9 through 17, luster, make sure you know, is shiny. You need to know the definition of malleability. It's that it can be hammered into sheets, and ductility means it can be pulled into wires. Go ahead and pause the video and try 9 through 17 on your own. If it reacts with something, it's a chemical property. Tin is also reacting, so chemical. Hardness, you may remember from elementary, the Mohs hardness scale, diamonds being the hardest, chalk being very soft. Hardness is a physical property, and it can help us identify what it is. Boiling point, again, is physical, and it's intensive. Neutralizing a base is chemical. I don't know if it can neutralize it till I put it together. Luster, I can look at something and see if it's shiny, and if it's shiny, that does help me identify it. A lot of metals are shiny. Odor is a physical property, and it can help you identify it. Malleability, hitting something and it flattening into a sheet is a physical property, and it helps us identify it. Again, that's a property of a metal. And ductility, pulling something into wires and it not breaking, is also a physical property that can help us identify it. Again, many metals are ductile. Go ahead and pause the video and try this one on your own. Restart when you have your answer. We want a physical property. C was our only physical property, and it's physical extensive. I'm going to pause the video and try this one on your own. It's talking about boiling, so that's physical. Also, there's no intensive or extensive chemical. Chemical is always intensive, so we don't have that intensive in front. So C and D were wrong for that aspect as well. Boiling point does help us identify it. So intensive physical.